So I'm Lisa Kowalczyk, Executive Director of the Medicine Hat and District Chamber of Commerce. And joining me from our team today is Chantal Legault, our trade show manager. And she jokingly says she's a trade show manager with no trade shows right now. So Chantal is going to be one of your key contacts in this project. She's working alongside me in coordinating this and helping our members make sure that it's a easy and successful process for them. Kristen Walsh, our events coordinator, so working with us on the back end to make sure it's a seamless process to set this event up for you today. Joining us as well is Amy Depalma. So she is a project coordinator for the Chamber Partnership Initiative. We initially found out about this project actually through the Alberta Chambers of Commerce, and it was through one of our network calls that we have weekly that this concept and opportunity was introduced to us. And as a chamber, we have been involved in work integrated learning and student co-ops and practicums and placements for a number of years. It's been for as long as I've been with the chamber, we've always had a priority to work with students and to hire students in positions that we have. And more recently, we got involved in a more broader perspective in trying to connect employers with student work integrated learning opportunities and partnerships. So we actually signed a memorandum of understanding with the Medicine Hat College in 2009 to create more of an opportunity for employers to explore placements for students in their business. I can speak personally to our experience because we've had different types of students working with us, from applied research projects to co-op placements to work terms and practicums. And I always like to sing our success story with Kristen, because she was art and design student with the Medicine Hat College that had worked with us in a work term position over one summer. We loved Kristen so much that we had to keep her on board with us part-time until her next work term the following summer. And so she is a graduate who is now working with us full-time. So that's a great success story for just the opportunity with students, where you have the, you know, I'll say you get the opportunity to kind of do a test drive with your students and then turn it into a future employment. So it is a great way to work with students for potential future employment, but also short-term projects. So we just finished a business research project where we had been working with 4 students on a research study for us. We were able to access funding to cover those costs, and we were able to capitalize on that student talent to help us with a short-term need. And so there's lots of different applications to leverage student talent. But the Chamber Partnership Initiative actually takes it one step further. So as opposed to just creating connections, it's a whole toolkit for businesses with great labor information and data. So I won't get into the details because I'm just new to the project, and we're learning right alongside with each of you. And so I am going to turn the presentation over to Amy to give you a little bit of an overview of the Chamber Partnership Initiative and the portal, and let her walk us through it.
Thank you very much, Lisa, and thank you to the Medicine Hat and District Chamber for having me today. I'm really excited to speak to such a large group with many different members from different backgrounds. I love that you just shared that success story. As I do these presentations, I always feel like I get more and more passionate about the student work placement program. I was a student who didn't know where my direction was taking me, so I just kept going back to school and getting an upgraded degree until I finally ended up in a master's program where I had that research program instilled in my degree, and then I realized exactly what I wanted to do with my life, and it transitioned into a career as well. Obviously not the career that I'm doing right now, but I do have another job in psychology that I get to call my passion project, and that came out of a work integrated learning placement as well. So thank you for sharing that. My name is Amy Depalma. I am the project coordinator at Magnet in the industry engagement team. and myself, along with a team of 5 others, are in charge of this Chamber Partnership Initiative. I've been with Magnet for almost a year now, and I've been on this project from the very beginning. Prior to this, I did actually work with the Ontario Chamber of Commerce, so I'm really excited to now be back in and dealing with chambers across the country. And as Lisa mentioned, this is a partnership with your chamber, as well as Magnet, the Ontario Chamber of Commerce, and the Alberta Chamber of Commerce. So I'm just going to start the presentation with a 1-minute video. It's a very high-level overview of what the Chamber Partnership Initiative is, and we'll give you a little taste of what SWIP is before I get into the actual nitty-gritty.
Introducing the Chamber Partnership Initiative, supporting chambers and their members. Boost your business with student talent. Wage subsidies of up to $7,500 are available to employers who hire Canadian post-secondary students. Student work integrated learning experiences can help businesses or local healthcare providers with support for project-based work in digital marketing, market research, customer sales and support, technology support, accounting and finance, frontline healthcare services, and more. Tap into a skilled and energetic student talent pool with Canada's largest student recruitment platform. Reach students at more than 85 Canadian post-secondary institutions with one job posting. Your account also connects you to updates on funding programs and COVID-19 recovery resources. Reach a national audience of job seekers and grow your business with one platform. Join your chamber portal, powered by Magnet, to get started.
Okay, great. So that's just a little bit about what the Chamber Partnership Initiative is, and I will talk about all those different features that were presented in that video. The main topic today is on the Student Work Placement Program and Work Integrated Learning. So I'm going to talk about the Chamber Partnership Initiative and how it's addressing those economic challenges that we are still seeing entering into 2021. We can only hope the year is going to get better, but right now we might as well take advantage of all of these resources that are being offered to us to support our businesses and keep their doors open. I'll go into the specific financial supports that are involved with the Student Work Placement Program, as well as the SWIP employer scenarios. This is my favorite part of the presentation because it shows you as the members that SWIP is not one size fits all. You really can tailor this program to meet your individual business needs right now throughout the work placement term. I'll get into the additional chamber member supports and resources, and we'll actually do a demo of how to apply for the SWIP funding through the Medicine Hat and District Chamber portal. So again, the Chamber Partnership Initiative, we refer to it as CPI, is really helping address the economic recovery of Canadian businesses. It is a federally funded program that has been brought to us by the Government of Canada, and Chamber Partnership Initiative has actually been rolled out across Canada through this Student Work Placement Program as well. So it really empowers the chambers and any member of these chambers by providing them with technology, resources, and funding, all at no cost. And the technology that is offered with this program is being able to access that Student Work Placement Program funding to hire a student and receive the wage subsidy. You're also able to have access to just a free job board within your chamber's portal. So you create an account, and if you're looking to hire a general laborer for a construction job, for example, you'd be able to post a job looking for a construction worker in that very specific area, and you will have job applicants matched to your posting. So it's all about this matching technology with what you request is what is matched to you, and then you can interview that person through this portal as well. The main part of this partnership is that you are going to have access to receiving this Student Work Placement wage subsidy, which will provide you with up to $7,500 in a wage subsidy for hiring a student during a work term. So provincial chambers across, such as the Ontario Chamber of Commerce and the Alberta Chamber of Commerce, have partnered with Magnet to deliver this to their respecting chambers within their provinces. I've been working with the Medicine Hat Chamber for a couple of months now. They've been really busy getting this program to exactly where it needs to be to roll out to its members. So I'm really happy to see a large group of 16 today, because I know that this is going to be extremely beneficial for all of the members, and I love that we have such a robust group here today, so we can really focus on how we can get this program to be a success for each of your individual needs. So again, with this program, you're going to be looking to hire student talent and providing them with work integrated learning opportunities. I think this is such a wonderful program. SWIP has been around for over a year. I personally don't see it going anywhere after COVID-19. There have been upgrades and adjustments due to COVID-19. However, I don't see it leaving just because students need that direction outside of the school. They need that hands-on learning where they can actually take all the skills that they've learned in their seminars and their lectures and their textbooks and be able to apply them into the real world. So you as the employer are going to be able to access really excited and keen students who want to be on your job and want to do a good job and want to learn because this is what they want to do for their future. And you're also going to be able to provide them with that work integrated learning so that they are getting those necessary skills today for the job that they're going to get tomorrow. So again, when they're graduated, as Lisa said, it's a great way to even be able to hire a full-time employee following their placement if they worked it for you during this learning integrated opportunity. As well as providing this SWIP program to you, you will have access to curated content, which will connect you to businesses across Canada. You'll be able to receive information in regards to online trade shows and events, so that where you can contact Chantel. She'll be able to direct you to anything of interest, especially with COVID-19 recovery. And it's all, again, there right for you when you access your portal through the Medicine Hat and District Chamber. So student work placement program, I already referred to it as SWIFT before explaining, I apologize. It's all about bringing together employers, students, and post-secondary stakeholders to create that unique work integrated learning opportunities. Most students today will have a co-op or a work experience or a field placement as part of their program. If a student is in a Bachelor of Arts degree and they're majoring in psychology, for example, that doesn't mean that they would not qualify for this program. As long as there is a work experience that is in relation to the program of study, they would be able to qualify and work for your business. There are many different types of work integrated learning, and I know that Lisa is an absolute expert on this. So it's not just a student who is in a co-op program. As she already mentioned, it can be a field placement, it can be work experience. Over the summer, it can be referred to as a summer job. The placements can be full or part-time. So again, it's really up to you as the employer. So many, I believe there's about 12 different types of work integrated learning. So you really have the ability to select the one that works best for your business. So with this program, eligible employers will be funded 75% of their wages to a maximum of $7,500 for that placement. A student's placement coincides with their semester. So currently we are in the winter semester, which runs from January 1st and has actually just recently been extended until April 30th. So you as a business are able to hire a student for that entire period or for just a smaller period, as Lisa mentioned, for 4 to 6 weeks, for example, within those dates, and be able to qualify for this wage subsidy. So if you have a very busy season before tax season approaches and you know that you could really benefit from having a business student come and assist you with your financials and your books, you'd be able to hire that student for those 4 weeks leading up to tax season and be able to be eligible to receive a wage subsidy for that funding, like before their salary that you gave them just for those 4 weeks. Another thing I want to always mention is that spring summer terms are combined. So if you are interested in hiring a student for the spring summer term, that would run from May 1st and goes all the way until the end of September. You can hire as many students as you want at the same time. There is no limit. And you can hire students to do different jobs within your company as well. So if you need to hire a marketing student because you are really need to get your online presence ramped up right now because we're still in the situation that we're in, you could do that. And you could also hire somebody to be taking care of your retail side within your store as well as a work experience. So again, this is my favorite slide because it goes over the specific scenarios. After I send the slide, I'll stop and pause for questions because I know it is a lot of information that I'm throwing at you. So I will pause and see if there are any questions after this one. So Bob's Bake Shop, he's a local shop owner and he's hired a graphic design student for the winter semester. So again, from January 1st, this slide says March 31st, but as of Monday, it has been extended to April 30th. and that student is going to build their website for their business. So Bob's going to take advantage because his financials will allow him to pay full sum of $10,000 for those 3 months of full-time work, and he would be eligible to be reimbursed $7,500 for the student hire. The second example is the Live Well Retirement Home, and this really goes for a student who might not be having a set of hours that's the same every week, so the student might need to be on a more of a contract basis. So long-term care facility is hiring a student who's looking to complete their field placement to become a PSW. We need all of the help that we can right now in long-term care facilities and in the hospital realm. So this student is going to be working the entire semester, but they're going to be paid a total of $5,000 for their work over the semester. So again, the Live Well Retirement Home doesn't know that they're going to be working 9 to 5 every day because they will be working shift work, but they know based on their financials that they can commit to giving the student $5,000 for the entire placement. And then what they would need to do is work out what an hourly wage would be, and then they'd be eligible to receive that $3,750 back in their wage subsidies. And the last one, Molly's Marketing, really again shows just if you need somebody for a very short-term period to work on a very specific research project. So they're hiring a business management student on a short-term basis just from February 1st to March 15th to assist with their busy season. The agency is going to pay the student $3,500 total, and they'll receive $2,625 back into their pocket. It is important to note that with this program, that's why I keep saying they check their financials and make sure that they have the ability to pay them. You do need to pay upfront for the placement, and you are reimbursed upon completion of the placement. So I know it always looks great to know, oh, this is wonderful, I can receive $7,500 back. Yes, but just I want to make sure that everybody understands that they have the financial capacity to pay that salary out that they would like to receive the wage subsidy for. I will pause here and see if there are any questions so far on SWIP or on the portal that you'd be signing up for through your Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, Amy. There was a question that was posted in the chat from Wes, and he is asking, are all Alberta post-secondary institutions connected to this program?
So as long as you are a registered post-secondary institution, you would be able to provide a student for this program. So what that means, I'll get into the eligibility as well later on, but what that means is as long as you are not a private college such as DeVry or a private beauty school, you would be able to find a student from any of those recognized post-secondary institutions in Alberta and across Canada. And I love that we have Wes and Shelley on this call today. I think that is such a huge benefit for the members of the Medicine Hat and District Chamber of Commerce because you have access to your local schools with the touch of a email or by picking up a phone. So if you already are in love with this program and you're like, this is great, I need to hire an engineering student, I really need the help, all you need to do is pick up the phone and contact Wes and Shelley, and they will be able to find a student that matches up with your program, and then you can ensure that you have met the eligibility requirements for your student as well. So it also cuts a lot of time in between having to post a job online to find the student. You can just apply through your SWIP and contact your local schools to find the student that works for you. Are there any other questions? Oh, go ahead, Chantal.
Thank you. Wes also just had a follow-up question that he posted in the chat as, can a business hire multiple students?
Yes, you can. You can hire as many students as you would like during the same semester, 100%. You would need to complete a separate application for your students. If you're hiring in bulk, I believe it's 30 or more, you'd be able to apply through a bulk application so you're not entering everything individually.
Amy, maybe just as a follow-up to that, because we do have some large employers in Medicine Hat, if they went through the bulk application, is that also accessible through the portal, or is that something they would need to connect with us about, and then we would make sure they have the right application?
So what I would suggest doing is for the first application, apply through the Medicine Hat portal. And then while you're doing this, contact Lisa and let her know that you are going to be hiring a large amount of students. And then Lisa can reach out to us and let us know there will be a bulk application. And then you'll have somebody on the magnet team who will be specifically in charge of your bulk application to move forward with the rest of them.
Excellent. And they can connect with Chantel too.
Wonderful. Sorry.
Okay, I think we're ready to move on.
Okay, wonderful. So the supports that are being offered for chamber members is that you will have access to this student work placement program funding. It is a federally funded program, and there are other delivery partners across the country of this program. The difference with being a partner with the chamber is that you're going to receive support on how to complete your application. They're going to be able to provide you with step-by-step guides, videos, online tutorials, Word documents that will assist you, that have screenshots, and they'll be able to reach out to the Magnet support team throughout the process. If you have any questions about your application, they'll be able to reach out to myself and my team to see if applications were received, because many times we find employers get through the whole process and they'll just forget to click that last button, submit. And if you don't have that support from your chamber being able to reach out to us, you just kind of sit there and you're unsure where your application has gone, but it was never received. So you do have that additional support every step of the way. You have access to Canada's largest student recruitment platform, which is Outcome Campus Connect. So on Outcome Campus Connect, again, you are able to post your job looking for a student to over 85 post-secondary institutions across Canada. That being said, as I've already mentioned, you guys have access to your local schools, which I think is absolutely wonderful, and it already gives you such an advantage into finding that student talent. But if you are going to be hiring a student and it's for a very specific need, and you know that there is a school, I'm going to use Western University in Ontario, you know that they're really well known for their business program. So you want to post your job to target a school, to target Western Ontario. That's a great way to use Outcome Campus Connect to target no more than a handful of schools, because it does take time to have those posts approved, because they need to be approved by each individual school. So that's why I say it's a great way to find a student. If you're also in a time crunch, reach out to your chamber and to your local schools first to see if you can find that student talent that would work for you. You'll get assistance completing invoices and compiling all the necessary paperwork. It is a government program, so as easy as it is, there obviously is paperwork involved. So the paperwork that you would need to have when you complete the application, it's simple things as just knowing about your business. You obviously know all of your address information and your contact information. Really understand your SWIFT needs before you begin the application. And what that means is, am I hiring a full or part-time student? What are my financial responsibilities? What can I pay the student? How many hours a week will I need them? And for how long will I need them? And then understanding what the placement will entail. So those job duties. The documentation that you will need to have to complete the application throughout all of the steps. The student needs to provide proof of Canadian citizenship, as well as proof of enrollment. And you as the employer will need to be able to provide their first and last pay stub within the application as well. We have many questions about, does the student have to be on payroll? The student should be on payroll. It should be business as usual, like with any other employer. But if you are, I'm going to use a photography company, for example, if you're hiring a student for photography and they're on contract because you are unsure of what jobs you will be booking for them throughout, you can pay them in a stipend, but you would have to provide additional documentation that shows the EFT transfers, the reasons why you were not paying them on payroll, and a handwritten note that states the dates that they worked, the funding periods that they worked for you. So for between January 14th and March 12th, for example. Yeah, that's it for this slide. So how to apply for funding, these are the steps that will show you the member where to go from here. And I know Lisa's going to show you after I'm done speaking exactly where to find the portal. So you will create an account on your chamber's portal, and you're going to begin filling out your SWIFT application. To create the account on your chamber's portal, all you need to do is provide your name and your email address. You will receive an activation email where you will enter a little bit more details about your organization. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes to enter that information, and then you'll have access right away to complete your SWIFT application online through Outcome Campus Connect. I always suggest applying for the funding before applying for a student. So if you may already have hired a student this semester, wonderful. You're able to apply for this winter term starting from January 1st of when you've been paying the student from. So I always say complete your employer eligibility section of the application first, That gets your foot in the door. It takes about 2 weeks to turn around to hear that you are eligible as an employer. If you have your student already, you can enter their information right now. If you are going to take that time to find a student while you're waiting for the employer eligibility, that's wonderful as well. So you don't have to have everything all set right away. Again, if you're interested, complete the application. There's no harm in completing the application. If for some reason you are approved and you decide you don't want to move forward with it, there is no commitment to it. You would finalize your SIP application after you have found your student by completing their information of the program of study that they're in, their year of study that they're in, and the school that they're going to. Then the student will enter their details. And then, as I mentioned, the last steps are submitting all of the pay stubs, the first and last. You'll have to provide what the total gross payment was during that time, which will be on those pay stubs, and then you'll receive your invoice. After the placements are completed and invoices have been submitted, it takes about 45 to 60 days to receive the payment. And there is, right now, when I say the deadline of the placement is April 30th, you as an employer, if today you haven't hired a student, next week you haven't hired a student, but in 2 weeks you decide you'd like to hire a student, you actually have until April 30th to even begin your application. I just suggest beginning your application sooner rather than later, because you want to ensure that A, you have been eligible as an employer, which I'm sure everybody on this call will because you're a member of the chamber, and B, that your student is eligible. The main pain points that I've been seeing going through applications are that students have either not been Canadian citizens, they've just been here on a school permit, or that the student isn't actually currently enrolled in a program. They've graduated. This happens a lot over the spring summer term where they graduate in winter. They work for a company over the spring summer, but they're not going back to school in the fall. So those are the important questions I always suggest asking your student right off from the get-go. But again, if you're finding your student through Weston Shelley, you will be just fine. So next steps as the employer, you're going to connect with your local chamber by either emailing Lisa or Chantel. And again, understanding your SWIP needs. Is it a full or a part-time placement? How many weeks do I need the student for? And what exactly is the position that I need assistance with? There is no right or wrong answers. A lot of chambers ask me, what should I hire my student per hour? Obviously it needs to be minimum wage, but it's up to you. There is no flashy number that's going to attract the attention. It's you hire based on what you personally can afford based on your financials. And that's why I like to say it's really up to you. It is a program that is designed to suit your business needs because we are trying to help our small businesses right now. And then again, creating your Chamber Business Portal account, and the link is there at the bottom. I will be sharing this presentation with Lisa and Chantel following today's meeting that they can send to you as well. The next part of the presentation, I go into the eligibility. Would anybody like to pause before I go into the eligibility for any questions?
There was just one more question submitted, and I know you touched on it a little bit. So Michaela, I don't know if she answered your question completely already, or if you want to touch base on it. So her question is, so you can expand on it, is do students have to be Canadian citizens, and can students with a permanent resident status apply?
Wonderful. Yes, students, and I will talk about all of this in the next couple of slides, but they can be a Canadian resident, a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident, or a student to whom refugee status has been granted. And part of the program, when you apply for the SWIP funding, or you're using Outcome Campus Connect to post for a job, especially with the posting the job, you actually have the ability to target specific groups. So you are able to, if after you've completed your SWIP application and you're going to be using the job posting aspect as well, you're able to target persons with disabilities, women in STEM, Indigenous students, as well as newcomers to Canada within the past 5 years. So it's a really wonderful tool to be able to access specific areas to find that talent for those underrepresented groups.
Perfect, thank you, Lisa.
Okay, so our eligibility for the employers. Again, I have no concerns that none of you will Not to be eligible, they need to be a registered Canadian business or a not-for-profit, a hospital or a long-term care facility. You can also now be a post-secondary institution who's looking to hire students as well. Federal, provincial, territorial, and municipal governments would not qualify. So the City of Medicine Hat would not be able to hire a student under this program. And then, as I mentioned, you need to be committed to paying the student upfront for the role, as you will be reimbursed at the end of the placement, and providing them a quality learning experience. So the Government Canada has introduced a few changes to the program due to COVID-19. So as an employer, you do have the flexibility to postpone a placement start date to avoid rescinding placements. You're able to apply for the funding before, as I mentioned, you finalize your selection of students to hire. Again, I strongly encourage you, if this program is of interest to you, apply for your funding right away, get your foot in the door. It is a first come, first serve when it comes to these government programs, and there is a 2-week turnaround time. So you want to make sure that you have put forth your application, and then you can find your student afterwards. Students are able to work from home. So they can work fully remote. If you are a job that needs to have somebody on site, and I'm assuming your government is allowing that for that specific position, they can be on site as well. Or you can choose to have a student who's temporarily remote because you may need them to be coming in later on in their placement. Post-secondary institutions, as well as hospitals and long-term care facilities, are now eligible as well. We actually have set aside 1,500 placements to be reserved for hospitals and long-term care facilities, given the situation that we've been facing the past year. So the eligibility for the students, again, it's a great question. Registered as a domestic student in a recognized Canadian post-secondary institution, need to be a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident, or a person to whom refugee protection has been granted. An international student, again, who is living here on a work visa or a study visa, they would not qualify. That is a very, I do see this come up a lot where students have not disclosed that they are an international student. So I strongly encourage employers that when you begin this process and you found a student, I always say, have them complete their portion of the application with you as part of their training and onboarding. Do it at the beginning. Don't wait until the end of the placement to collect their information. Do it at the beginning with them so that you as an employer can rest assured that your student has submitted all of their documentation before they've gone off and gone back to school, and that they would meet all of these eligibility criteria requirements. Of course, they need to have that work integrated learning component. And as I mentioned, during the semester that they are going to be having a placement. But as I mentioned, most students will have a work integrated learning component, even just a work experience that will reflect what they are studying. They just need to let their school know that they are going to be taking a placement. They've actually, again, changed the way this has been going in the past due to COVID-19. A student needs to provide documentation that they are in school. So would have to provide a transcript, for example. It has their program of study, their year, their name, and their school name. But they just need to personally attest that they are giving a work integrated learning program for their program of study. They don't need to receive a formal letter that states this student is in a co-op program. Again, the student can be full or part-time from any program of study, and there's no age restriction. So you could be hiring a student who's in their master's degree or a PhD who just needs part-time work. If you're looking for a very specific, highly trained skill, that's, I think, a wonderful addition. And again, as I mentioned, Magnet and the Ontario Chamber of Commerce to the top program are not the only delivery partners of this program. The wonderful part about being a partner with your chamber and with this Magnet Chamber Partnership Initiative is that it covers all programs of study. Other delivery partners of SWIP are focused on a specific program. So they are only accepting students who are in engineering, for example, or they're only accepting students who are in business and finance. With this partnership, you can hire a student from any program and they would qualify. And then our last point of eligibility is for those placements. They can also, again, be full or part-time positions. Stacking with provincial tax credits is allowed, but I am not a tax professional and I get this question all the time. Please just contact your local tax professional to sort out those areas. Partial government funds from provincial, territorial, or municipal sources are permitted. but only funds from non-governmental sources can be subsidized on under this program. So what essentially means is that there can't be double dipping. So if you're already receiving a provincial funding for a student for 40%, you would only be able to apply for the same student for the remaining 75% of the 60%. If you have a student that you have on a provincial or territorial or municipal funding program, you'd be able to hire an additional student under SWIP and receive that full 75%. A placement, however, could not be funded by this program in any other source of federal funding, such as Canada Summer Jobs or the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy. So if you're already on one of those right now at this time, you would not be able to hire a student and take advantage of this federally funded program, but you would be able to apply for the spring-summer term. Or if you're planning on using queues for spring-summer term, you'd be able to qualify for the winter term for SWIP.
Amy, just to clarify on that point, so
yes.
If they have the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy for their regular full-time core staff, but they're not applying that for the student, they could then access the full 75% through the SWIP program just for the student, as long as they're not claiming both the wage subsidy plus that. Right?
That's my understanding as well, Lisa. I am going to check back on that one because I know that is a very important piece of this puzzle, and I just want to ensure that is the correct answer. So I will speak with Luke following this and just get that clarification for you as well. And that's the end of my presentation. I think Lisa's going to share how to sign into the portal now, and then I'll do a quick demo for those who are interested in seeing what a SWIP application looks like.
Can everybody see my screen? Yes. Okay, perfect. So we actually launched this partnership just before Christmas, but we decided not to do a webinar and a full launch until the new year because we knew people would probably be busy right before the holiday season. So if you're curious about some of the details behind it, we do have our press release from December 16th on our website, so you can check out some more information there. But in terms of going to our website, so you go to medicinehatchamber.com, and if you go down to business supports, you will see the Chamber Employment Connector under that drop-down menu. So all you have to do is click on that, and it's going to bring a sign-in page. So you'll get to see the actual portal, and you will see, so if obviously I've signed into this account and created an account, but if you were a new user, you just click on create an account, and this will probably be of interest to SAMHSA Immigration and the college and anybody else who might have job seekers as well as employers, is you can actually join as a job seeker, an employer, or a recruiter. So obviously for most of the purposes of each of you, you'll probably be signing up as an employer. And then it's super simple. You just fill in your details, click on sign up, and you essentially have your portal created. So Amy, I don't know if mine would look similar to the employers that are signing up. Yes?
Okay. It would just want to have the activity summary, but yeah, the first thing they'll see is apply now for SWIP. And then I love, Lisa, that you mentioned that as the job recruiter signing in. So if you're trying to get your job recruiting company and you're trying to get your students on the portal, or not even just students, adults that are looking for jobs onto the portal, they'd be able to create their own account. And then what they do is they create a profile that talks about all of their soft skills, as well as their educational skills, the type of employment that they're looking for. And then when someone posts a job on Magnet, that's what they get matched up to. So they get invited to apply for a job. And it's an amazing feeling on the other end to have somebody invite you to apply for a job. So that's going to be a wonderful tool for anybody who is using it for the job seeker side as well.
Yeah. And we actually do have a job recruiter who's with one of our local companies here, and that's the service they provide. So I know I already got a private message from Jackie that she wanted to follow up. So there is a tool essentially for each of those roles. And then again, super simple. If you're looking at accessing that wage subsidy right away, I love the dashboard because you have the quick click to apply now, and you can go in and actually apply for that funding. And as Amy mentioned, it takes you to that Outcome Campus Connect. So you can just, it's, you know, for those of you that love, you know, wizards in Word documents that take you through a step-by-step, there is the application wizard. So you can go through and actually fill out this process. So it gives you a bit of an overview. And again, you just click through your placement terms, so you can select the placement term. And Amy, I guess this is a good question, because I know, having dealt with SWIP programs previously, I was able to apply kind of retroactively. So for a student I had hired in the summer, I was actually able to go and apply for that retroactively. Does this work the same way?
It is, so they have extended the deadlines for the fall. So if you have hired a student for fall, I suggest today logging in and creating an account and beginning your employer application, because they did extend the dates. Nothing has been released officially, but I believe you have until February 1st to complete your application. And then there are deadlines for each of the stages after that of submitting your student information and uploading your pay stubs and terms and conditions. But yes, 100%, the retroactive payment is very important, because you may not have been aware of this program back in the fall, and you'd like to receive that wage subsidy, but do it today.
And then, so again, you can pick your work. So if you are looking at an immediate work term here in the winter, January to April, or summer, you select your options. It'll take you through the terms and conditions in terms of those eligibility requirements that Amy was talking about. And then you just go through, and again, super simple in terms of the information. And obviously, you know, it's pre-filled in with our account information. And just for the purposes of this, hopefully it'll let me click next, and it did. And then I can enter my placement details. So, you know, if I wanted to go in and select what type of will, so I mentioned this in the very beginning of this presentation, that there's a number of different types of work integrated learning opportunities. So if it's short-term applied research program, if it is a co-op, an internship, and this is where a partnership with, you know, the Medicine Hat College is really valuable. Or, you know, say for example, you're accessing a student from the University of Lethbridge or another post-secondary, you know, a quick call to their program administrators to say, I'm not quite sure, you know, what I'm applying for, and getting clarification. So, you know, we might be applying, as we have for our summer students in the past, for a work experience. And then again, you just put in your details and walk through the hourly wage and all the details for the position, the start date, end date, supervisor, and then again, the student, when you've actually selected your student, then you can go through, fill in that information, documents, and complete that process. Correct, Amy? Did I miss anything?
Correct. No, you didn't. You did the demo for me. Thank you so much. I just want to mention that, so now looking at Lisa's screen, you'll see at the top left, it says apply for subsidy or post new. So if she now wanted to go in and post the job that matches that SWIP application placement, I strongly encourage employers to have your placement details on a Microsoft Word document, because it is a simple copy and paste. You don't want to be sitting there and typing in the placement details a second time. So put everything on a Word document so you have it, and then you'll be able to see, again, it will show you, you can see that Lisa has already posted a business support and research assistant job posting. And if she had applied for a SWIP application, those would show up under the SWIP application heading as well. So it's user-friendly. There obviously are some hiccups that come with anything that uses technology, but that's what we're here to do, to support you with. So it's all found in one place, which is wonderful.
So Amy, can I turn it back to you to go through a little bit more of the tools that are in the platform?
Of course, not a problem. Oh, there we go. I think I just need to.
And just while Amy's getting her screen share, one of the reasons we went through with this partnership was not only to make it easier for employers to access the funding and make, because I've been through that process personally, and it can be, a number of steps and quite complicated. But because this actually ends up being a job placement portal long-term, so as you can see on Amy's screen, you can not only post for work integrated learning opportunities, but you can post for just other jobs that you have available, and access the database of skilled workers that have applied as job seekers. But then there's also labor market information and tools. So it's really a toolkit of supports that we're able to provide through this partnership that extends beyond the end of April, and something that our employers, job seekers, and recruiters can use longer term.
Wonderful. So in regards to that LMI tool, so if you are a company, and I'm just going to use an HVAC technician as my example, and you've really struggled to find talent and keep talent, you'd be able to call your chamber up, show them the job posting. They would be able to input the data into their system of the location of the job posting, and they'll be able to match it towards the same job posting in nearby cities. So if you're in a smaller town, you'll be able to see what Calgary is offering somebody, or even Lethbridge is offering somebody. And then how can you make your job posting more appealing to keep your talent local, as opposed to them driving 2 hours to do the exact same work. So it's a really amazing tool that the chamber has in their back pocket to help provide you with wonderful supports to find that talent and keep that talent. And as Lisa mentioned, you can post for jobs that are related to students that are not part of SWIP or recent grads. You can post looking for professional and skilled workers. I will go through and do one of these very quickly, because I do want to show you that self-disclosure piece, because it is such an amazing part of Magnet. I know that many companies look to hire outside of the box. With this platform, you're able to hire somebody, for example, a person with disabilities, not because they're persons with disabilities. You're hiring them because they match all of the skills that you require for your job. They just happen to have also self-disclosed as a persons with disabilities. So you actually have opened up an even greater talent pool that is untapped, because there are many people who have not been comfortable in the past of disclosing this information, but with this, it's all kept private, and you would only be aware of this if they've matched to the job and you've chosen to match to somebody with that who's self-disclosed into that category. So I love that aspect of the Magnet platform. So again, employer name, Chamber Partnership Initiative. I'm going to use Magnet. Actually, I'm going to select to use my email to receive anything for any requests to apply for my job. So what do I require? I require a cover letter and some work samples. I'd enter my application email address. So that's where I'll be receiving my applications. My job title is going to be, let's say, oil manufacturer. My job level, I'm looking for a senior level field of work. Let's natural resources. Okay, now I'm going to enter my job description here. I'm just going to write test. So I don't know what just happened there. I apologize. There we go. I'm just going to write test here so that we can see the actual application process. You do need to enter your location. So even if it is remote work, you are required to input your location of your job. Job type, I'm looking for a permanent full-time position. I'm going to enter if I'm going to be paying them hourly or on salary, and when they'll begin their work term. So let's say as soon as possible, and there is no end date, it's open-ended. Are there any other language requirements besides speaking English for my job? If there were, you could put them there. Number of open positions, maybe you have more than one. And now you'd enter the application deadline. So today is the 15th. I'm going to keep this application open for 2 weeks to be able to receive applications for my job. I hit continue. Now I have the ability to either enter a specific educational background. So I could say that I would like to find somebody who is at a specific level of education. So I want them to have had a master's degree. It doesn't matter to me they're going to be a graduate. I prefer that they're a graduate. If it's required, I would hit required. I'm going to hit preferred. I don't have a preferred institution of where they have graduated from, but if you do, you are able to select a specific school where they would have graduated from. You can also look for candidates based on their subject areas of skills. So if I would like to enter specific skills, every single skill that you can possibly think of is found in this list. We actually have a dedicated team that inputs these skills. I didn't believe it. I've tried everything. Everything comes up. So again, it's wonderful because those are now those words that are going to match you. That's how the technology works. It's going to match to a person who's put those specific skills on their resume. We're going to continue. Oh, it's making me pick a skill. I'm going to pick, or just say management. Oh, I don't know what my computer is doing today. I apologize. We'll say case management. Doesn't really work with my job, but that's okay. So right now it will say, because it's a demo environment, this happens to me all the time. Over here, it'll say targeted individuals. You will get a number. It will tell you how many individuals your application is currently reaching out to. You might get an extremely large number. You might get 250. That might be a lot. So you have the ability now to either cast your net wide or to hone in on an even smaller group of people. So you're only going to receive 10 people who would be qualified for your job. So it's only 10 interviews you have to give if those people choose to put themselves forth for your application. So because I had 0, I still want to show this, even though the number did not populate. But you could add specific communities that you would like to send your posting to. You could select specific job boards that you would like to send your posting to. You could also add, this is the diversity filter that I was just describing to you earlier, to be able to select if somebody should belong to, must belong to, or only belong to. So this is when you can pick those specific populations of hiring an Indigenous person. You'd like your application to be able to reach somebody who self-discloses an Indigenous person. If you click should belong to, the number will not change, which is great. It just opens up a door to anybody who has self-disclosed. If you want to now also add persons with disabilities, again, should belong to. So it really allows you to cast your net far and wide or hone it in on a very specific community for your application. And then the last step, I'm not going to hit activate because then I get in trouble because then this actually goes live. You would hit activate and your job, it takes about 24 to 48 hours to be vetted by our team. We do obviously want to ensure that this is a real job. It is a real location because we wouldn't want to have, before COVID-19 jobs weren't all remote, we would never want to have an applicant who's matched and it's not actually an appropriate job. So that does take 24 to 48 hours to be vetted and then posted on your behalf. And again, this is all free, which is wonderful. As a job seeker, it looks very similar. They'd be entering in their personal details. You can enter in your educational details. Maybe you're currently a student or you're a graduate. We also have a wonderful program that you would have access to on this platform called the Align, and that is for newcomers to Canada. And it's all about providing them with a psychometric testing for them to be able to find those soft skills to match them with jobs, not based on just their education. It's based on those personal soft skills to find a place of business where they're going to have lasting and positive relationships within their work experience coming to Canada.
So Amy, I think we do have a couple questions. One in relation to this dashboard for the employer. So I know there's the Outcome Campus Connect. So if they've gone through the SWIP application process and they've posted their job through the Outcome Campus Connect, which is linked to this, do they also need to post the job in here? So knowing that they're two separate tools. So one is very specific to the SWIP application, and that's Outcome Campus Connect. Whereas these job postings in this portal are more those open job postings for anybody to apply to, correct?
Exactly. So it does show you that you do have the option to click Outcome Campus Connect here, But if you know that you're going to be applying for SWIP, just hit that. That takes you straight to Outcome Campus Connect. Don't do a regular job posting, just go right here so that your application and your job posting are all found in the same place.
And there's another question in the chat in terms of, is a student required to make a Magnet account, or can we hire a student who may not be on the platform?
No, your student for the SWIP program, I'm assuming that's what that question is in relation to. No, your student does not have to have a Magnet account. When you have entered your student information onto your application, they will be requested, they'll have an email that they receive, and they'll be requested to enter their information on the same application.
Thank you.
No problem.
Then there was just one other question from Benjamin, just in regards to canceling. Sorry, I'm just scrolling the chat. Can you cancel a job placement if it doesn't go ahead?
Yes, so if worst case scenario, you've hired a student, they do not work out for you or they leave. You would notify the SWIP team. You'd submit the pay stubs that you've already given them and be reimbursed for that. If you only paid them for 2 weeks or for 1 month, you would submit that their first and last pay stub and be reimbursed. I've been in applications now for a couple months. I've seen it happen once. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but I do like to believe that students who are applying for these positions, as I said, they want to be there. They want to learn. They're also excited to not be staring at their computer right now doing online lectures. They're so keen to get out into the real world still from their computer, unfortunately, right now. But there are so many students who are dying to complete a work integrated learning program, especially during these times. But yes, there's no, like, you're not going to be faulted or penalized or not receive your money if your student doesn't work out and you've already paid them a couple times.
Okay, I think that was it for questions, right, Chantal, so far?
Yeah.
Okay, I know we've gone over time. This was an amazing session. You guys had wonderful questions. I think that there is so much benefit for the members of the Medicine Hat District Chamber of Commerce to use this platform, not only for SWIP, but as I mentioned, to recruit for positions, to post your jobs, to connect with communities across the Magnet platform, across Canada. There's a community hub where you're able to post a question and you could be now put into a group with other service providers in your industry across Canada and be able to communicate with them about how they've been dealing with the challenges that they've been facing. Every province obviously has been going through this economic downturn differently. So it's a really wonderful way to be able to connect and find those resources and supports until we're able to get out of all of this together. You'll also have access to, and I don't know if I mentioned this, you will be able to receive information about those online trade shows, the business export growth. If that's something that interests you, you'll also be able to learn about that pipeline through this portal. That's also being revamped right now. We're going to be launching a new business export growth portal. I know many people aren't thinking about growth right now, but let's think towards the future and how we can continue to grow our businesses through all of these supports.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, Amy. Were there any other questions? Chantal, I didn't see any others in the chat, but I may have missed some. Was there anything else there? And any other, final tips and tricks, Amy, that you wanted to share with us before we close off?
I think my best advice is, if this is something that interests you, don't wait. It does seem daunting. It does seem like a long process, but the process is broken up into so many different steps that completing your employer eligibility takes 7 to 10 minutes. I did a video, it took me 7 minutes and I actually entered my details. So you can stop right there. You don't need to continue moving forward. You can stop right there, walk away and come back to it. It sounds like, people always like, I'm not selling this to anybody. I think it's an amazing opportunity. If you're able to hire somebody to assist with you and receive a wage subsidy, it is a win-win situation. It's a win for you as a business, even without COVID-19, and it's a win for the student because they're receiving that amazing, amazing mentorship that could turn into a long-term job in the future.
Thank you so much, Amy. And I know I've had a couple questions, you know, just leading up to this, and in terms of people I've chatted with about this, and they say, well, what about Indeed or Canada Job Bank? You know, why would you guys launch a portal when there's other tools? And my response has been, you know, I've used the Job Bank in the past, and it isn't as specific or detailed as this. There are some limitations in terms of, you know, the quality of the job that you're able to post, because they do have some limited criteria to select from. The other thing I've said is, you know, I know because you're able to put those details and it's a more of a matching tool, you get higher quality applicants that are coming your way. And then it also has the funding piece, which is a big piece, and being able to help employers with that, as well as the other tools. So it's a little bit more of a comprehensive toolkit as opposed to just a job posting board.
Yeah. And you will be able to still utilize those Indeeds and those Canada Job Banks. The data on the LMI tool scrapes from those job banks as well. And you're actually able to, we're not looking to compete with an Indeed or a LinkedIn. We're looking to support one another. So you can actually use you can push your application that you post on this portal. It can go out to an Indeed, but you will be receiving the notifications back to your Magnet account or your email address. There is not the matching technology, obviously. That's the wonderful point that Lisa was attesting to, but you do have the ability to still continue to use those other platforms. But again, all from one place. You don't have to post on all the different sites now.
Thanks for that clarification, Amy. That's great.
Yeah.
Any other final closing questions that anybody has? And if you would like to unmute, you certainly can. Okay. Hearing none, I just would like to thank you, Amy, again, for your time and the information. Great job, great overview, very detailed. And for those of you who aren't aware, Amy had to step into this fairly last minute. So I appreciate that she was able to step in and just do such an exceptional job of providing us an overview. You have our chamber team here to assist you with any questions that you have. Please know it's a new platform for us, so we may have to reach out. They've provided us with some great tools and resources to assist our businesses, but it is a team that you have behind this platform. And so we are certainly grateful for that and being able to have the powerhouse behind us as we launch this and provide this for our community. So please do let us know if you have any questions and follow up with us so that we can make this successful for you and for our organization moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, as Lisa said, we're here to support you. I know we threw so much information at you today. If you have questions that come up later on in the week, please reach out to Lisa and Chantel, and they can reach out to me as well. They've been wonderful. We have strategy sessions that we have weekly. They've really been putting everything into this program and trying to learn it to support their members. So I know it's going to be successful. So thank you for allowing me to present today.